I am Maria Marcela Fleury. Charles Borromeo was born in the north of Italy in the year 1538 of an important and wealthy family. He studied civil law and canon law. His uncle Pope Pius IV called him to Rome to be Secretary of State in the Vatican because always had a clear and precise opinion. His attitude was always firm and was very constant in the execution of his projects. He had an important role in convincing the Pope to continue the Council of Trent, which sought to end the corruption of the 16th century church besieged by Protestantism. Around 1563, Charles Borromeo began and supervised the writing of a new edition of the Catechism. He rewrote the liturgical texts, the music, and began to implement the clerical reform in Rome. Pius IV appointed him Archbishop of Milan, the largest archdiocese in Italy, where he found that both the clergy and the faithful had deviated from the teachings of the Church. The problem was that the city had not had a resident bishop in the last 80 years. To begin to be a good example, Monsignor Charles Borromeo reduced his domestic staff to a minimum, prohibited accepting gifts, and sold some of his properties to help feed the poor. He began to preach in churches and monasteries. He corrected the laity, cutting back on Sunday amusements and requiring all teachers to profess the faith. He traveled throughout his great archdiocese to the most remote places to visit the priests. Not all were always in agreement with his ordering the archdiocese and challenged his new policies. His life was in grave danger when the religious order of the Humiliati, which possessed many corrupt monasteries, lands, and members, tried to discredit him in front of the Pope. When they failed, one of them, for 20 coins, shot him when he was praying in the chapel of his house, but the bullet only touched his clothes. He was very interested in religious education, established the brotherhoods of Christian doctrines to teach religion to children. The organization grew surprisingly, and for his work in the formation of priests, he is recognized as the most active innovator of the Catholic seminary. The Archbishop Monsignor Charles Borromeo in general showed his kind side, and the people loved him. During a plague in 1576, he remained in the city caring for the sick, ordering that many of the ostentatious ornaments in churches be used to make clothing for the homeless. During a famine, when he went into debt to feed more than 60,000 people. In more ordinary times, he liked to roam the city praying with the people. He founded hospitals, schools, orphanages, and other charitable institutions, founded 740 schools with 3,000 catechists and around 40,000 students, founded 6 seminaries for the formation of new priests. Monsignor Charles Borromeo was an energetic reformist who always interpreted in the most austere and strict way possible the decrees of the Council of Trent. He was an instrument in the revitalization of the Church during the Counter-Reformation. He became a cardinal, and he is the patron of catechists. Charles Borromeo died in 1584 at the age of 46, tired of his jobs, but confident that with God we always win.